Good morning and welcome to another episode of the Chatty Cuppa. Now, we know that anxiety in teens and young people is a real problem. It's a fact. It happens. And a lot of parents cannot actually understand many a times what is actually happening inside their child. Now, it's something that we can't ignore. We have to address the problem. And it's not just a problem in the UK, it's a problem everywhere in the world. It's global. Now, according to the evolvedtreatment.com, 38% of females suffer with anxiety disorder, and 26.1 male teens have anxiety disorder. Now, those are huge numbers, and these are global. Now, you'd find that a lot of the teens and young people, they suffer with stress. And when stress is unattended, then it becomes panic, phobias. And then they start to feel like, oh my God, the logic and reasoning just goes out the window. Now, I know as parents, it can be very scary to see your child going through this process where sometimes you feel like you can't help them. But there are ways of actually helping your children. There are ways that you can actually express your feelings towards your children. And remember, if you are expressive and if you vocalize how you are feeling, it will make them more comfortable in doing just the same. And it's that feeling of building trust between parent and child. And obviously, when you find that it just, you don't seem to be helping in any way, then you have to get professional help. Now, this morning, I have this gorgeous, beautiful young person. She's 17, and her name is Avani. And Avani lives in Milton Keynes. She attends a school in the local area. And she has been struggling with anxiety not too long, but she will tell you a little bit more about herself. Now, I had the privilege of working with Avani, and she is just this most amazing human being. And I'm not gonna tell you too much. She's gonna just give an introduction about herself. Hi, Avani. Thank you so much for being here, sweetie.
So I'm 17. Yeah, I'm in year 13. I guess I'm very into art and designing things. I love giving back to the community. So I like doing like volunteering with charity organizations and stuff.
And you do quite a bit of that, isn't it?
Yes, every Saturday.
And what do you get out of that experience?
It's a good way that I boosted my confidence, but it's also quite nice to see those homeless people or people who don't have a lot of money get food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made good friends there too.
Oh, that's amazing. And it does build up your confidence, definitely. And I know that when it comes to helping other people and putting themselves out there, I sometimes say that teenagers and young people can be a little bit selfish and it's nothing wrong with it, because your body is developing in a way and you have all these hormones being produced in your body that makes you want to think about yourself, and you start to go within yourself. So therefore, everything is about, social media and the hype in the world and who can I compare myself to. It's a really hard world out there for teens and young people. Now, how do you agree with that the world now is a much harder place for young people than it was when I was a teenager?
I mean, now there's social media, so you can like compare yourself to celebrities who just look unreal, like they look too pretty, or they're successful at like 18, and then we're just at school. So I feel like sometimes you just compare yourself to like just people who are better than you.
And then you find that you compare yourself to people around you also.
Yeah, like people who are just smarter or something. I feel like everyone thinks that everyone else has their life put together, and we're the only one who hasn't got our life together.
You know what? That is so, so common. And because I work with a lot of teens and young people with anxiety, stress, depression, as you know, I see these young people saying the same thing. You know, we always want to look on the outside for our happiness and outside for the love, and even we think that everybody else is doing so much better. That's such a good point, Avani. Absolutely a good point. Now, would you be able to tell us a little bit about, share with us your journey of when did you realize that you were feeling different, where you were starting to, and explain some of the feelings that goes behind it, because I think a lot of teenagers, they don't know how to be more aware of themselves. Their self-awareness is very limited. So give us a little bit about your journey.
To be honest, like other people, I didn't know. I was just feeling quite nervous everywhere I went. I didn't think it was anxiety. Everywhere I looked, I was getting nervous. To go out, I would get nervous. To go to school every day, I would get butterflies in my tummy. And then it was only when I started after a period of time, I would stop breathing. I would have panic attacks, and I would start blanking out in tests. When I did revise for the test, and I put a lot of effort, and nothing came. And then my mom, because I still didn't think it was anxiety, my mom realized I was having like very similar symptoms. And an auntie I know was like, there's something that's holding you back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Avani, tell me a little bit more about the panic attacks, sweetie, because I know a lot of young people, it stress and anxiety surfaces in their body as a panic attack. From a 17-year-old, what is a panic attack?
Well, I couldn't breathe. I would just start like breathing very shortly, and I really couldn't breathe. I would be on the floor crying, and I guess it's different depending on different people. For me, I was just on the floor crying, like I couldn't breathe. I would try and breathe. I couldn't. It was like I would have to grip onto something just so I can have some
Comfort.
Oxygen. Yeah.
And by you sharing this now, is going to be helping so many other young people. And you are so brave to do this. So I'm so proud of you, by the way. So proud of you. How can young people like yourself become more aware of your feelings and your emotions and what is actually happening in your body and in your life?
Yeah, I mean, I guess not do what I did. I just suppressed it all down. I feel like if you just let like 10 minutes just to understand your body, like even if it's like in writing or just, I don't know, just assessing yourself, like put the phone down and properly just see what's going on.
Like doing a body scan, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you spoke about suppressing. Do you know that suppression and repression leads to depression? And that's exactly when we suppress our feelings and we repress our feelings, it actually turns into depression. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that. Tell me a little bit more about the feelings and the emotions behind, behind the anxiety.
Yeah, so I would go to school and I would think everyone hated me. Like I would see everyone around and I would think they're ignoring me and just not talking to me. I would go to school and think, I'm not understanding this. I don't deserve to do this. And then I would be chosen to speak up in the class. And then I would think, why is it me? Like, I would just start blanking out and properly just panicking, like what's going on? And I would go home and say I had a good day to my mom and say, yeah, everything was fine. And then I would start, I just laid down like upset on my phone, but still suppressing, like, no, I'm not upset, I'm happy, I'm having a good day. Because
Yeah.
I think sometimes I personally thought other people are having it worse, so I don't really need to be sad.
Yeah. And it just rewinding a little bit, with the suppression of your feelings and emotions, tell me, what is the feeling and what are the emotions that you were struggling with?
Mm, I guess it was more sadness, anger. I think I just wanted to scream, but
Were you frustrated?
yeah, I was more frustrated on myself for
Right.
thinking like that. Because I know that people do like me. Like, I know my friends like me. My mom loves me. I understand this because, I mean, I do quite hard subjects and I should be able to understand my A levels.
Of course.
So I think it was just, I just wanted to scream, like cry and scream and just let it all out and just
Mhm.
tell everyone that, I'm not feeling great.
Yeah. And I know that you said when we started working together, you said that you had great grades all your life. And
Yes.
it was just for a short period where your grades just plummeted downwards. And you felt as if, like, nothing you do is good enough, nothing you are feeling is enough. And those feelings are very real. It's very real. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more. And I know I explained this to you, but I think all our listeners and young people that are going to be watching this need to understand it. The reason why so many young people suffer with anxiety or stress, it's because at this time in their lives, between the ages of 12 and even 21, their prefrontal cortex, which is at the front of their brain, which is responsible for reasoning and logic, and basically that is a part of the brain that we use to help solve puzzles, problem solving, and so on. Now, when you are growing between these ages, between this age, your prefrontal cortex is not developed, it's not mature. So when it is not mature, you want to do things and you can't see the logic, you can't reason things out. Therefore, you'd find that so many teenagers and young people are risk takers. They are easier to go and join friends, especially the wrong kind of friends. And they are very easily influenced because their reasoning and logic is not fully developed. So I know a lot of young people blame themselves. They feel like they were born like that. It is actually not. You were not born like that. This had developed because of your logic and reasoning. It isn't mature enough, it isn't fully developed. And you'd find, like, only after 20, 21, and onwards, you start to make better decisions. You start to actually, reason things out, and you can start to reason your emotions and your feelings. So I want to tell all young people, be patient with yourself. Parents, give your kids opportunities to develop that prefrontal cortex so that they do not live in fight or flight mode. And most often, teenagers and young people, when you're going through anxiety, you get this feeling in the pit of your stomach. Did you get that, Avani?
Yeah, it's just here where it's like butterflies, but worse.
Yes, and it's those feelings in the pit of your stomach. And the reason why you get that is because we hold and we harbor our emotions in the lower part of our body. So we call that, like, your solar plexus, which is a chakra, your sacral, and so on. So therefore, when you hold your and you suppress your feelings in this part of your body, down in your stomach area, you'd find that therefore so many people suffer with IBS, gut issues, gut health. And in young people, especially, even in children, you'd find, like, when children are going through anxiety, the first thing they experience is tummy pain. And they will complain and they'll tell their mummies, "Oh, I got a tummy ache. I don't want to go to school." And that tummy ache is actually really, really legit. It's not a farce that kids are, lying about. you do suffer with tummy ache, because that's the first sign that the emotions that you're holding in the pit of your stomach is becoming too much. And that is the reason why you have to release those emotions and those feelings. Avani, what does stress and anxiety do to young people? Okay, before we do that, let's rewind. What causes anxiety in young people? What are some of the things that cause it? If you think about yourself and your friends and other people that you might see.
Yeah, for me, it was stress. I think going from GCSEs to A levels was a very big jump. And
Yeah.
because of lockdown, I was just at home doing nothing. And then suddenly I went to doing a lot of work and like not even doing much for it.
Yeah.
And then again, new friends. Most of my friends did stay, but I made new friends, and not many people who were my friends weren't in my classes, so I had to make new friends again.
And it's that pressure, isn't it?
Yeah, and just I guess the pressure to do well as well, because you're doing A levels for uni, and uni is for like your money, so
For life, your career.
so you're doing so much at such a young age. Like I'm only 17 and now I'm deciding which uni and what job I have to do if I need to do my PhD. And like I'm like I'm only 17.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know the pressures of school can be a huge factor. Pressures from school, pressure from family. Has your family ever, put pressure on you when it came to, part of that stress, part of the anxiety that you were struggling with?
My parents don't put stress, but I assume they did because they're both quite smart. And because I grew up in an Indian household, they do have some expectations of me doing well.
Of course.
So I think they didn't put pressure, but I didn't relate that I don't know if I can get this, or I would just keep it to myself.
And I think kids, a lot of young people go through this feeling like, oh, I have to please my mom and dad. I have to make sure that I make them proud. And I know my son and my daughter, when they were growing up, they're now 20, 22, and my son's going to be 25. And I found that when they were growing up, they also experienced a lot of the feelings and emotions that you've experienced. And I overheard my son telling my daughter one day that he has to work hard because of mom and dad. And I realized, you know what? We used to be the kind of parents that would say, you know what, just do your best. In whatever you do, just give off your best and do your best. But sometimes when you are in a certain school environment, and I know my son was in a grammar school, it was really hard to always just do your best, because there was 10 other people that was doing their best and that was in front of you. And even if you had like 97%, there was like 15 other people that had 98 and 100%. So the stress and the pressure of keeping up with everybody else is a huge, huge thing. What about social media? Do you find that social media, and I know you touched on this before, do you find that social media has a huge impact on the way the mind of a young person is today?
So I didn't get Instagram until I was in year 11. So I was like 15, 16, because my mom was worried about the same thing.
Yeah.
But to be honest, social media doesn't really affect me in a way, because I don't post, I don't do much on it.
Yeah.
I guess there's celebrities that post, and they're just, I think people don't realize that they Photoshop themselves, and they're not perfect either.
Yeah, and makeup is a huge thing, isn't it?
Yeah, because like I won't look like them and they won't look like me. And I just had to, I think when you think that you don't look as pretty as you are, you should just think, that's what you're born with. You can't really change it. So
Yeah, but everybody has their own beauty. And
yeah,
and every person, when they look at themselves in the mirror, and if they believe, you know what, I am enough and I am gorgeous, and you start to connect with your own inner beauty, then you wouldn't be looking on the outside.
yeah,
Now, another huge thing is, when it comes to social media, take people like Justin Bieber, and all these young singers, these pop singers, even people like Michael Jackson. They all became stars when they were very, very young. And there again, the pressure. Demi Lovato, she's been in and out of rehab and things like that. Now, it is a lot of pressure being young stars. And that is why, because again, they cannot apply reasoning and logic, and there's too much of people making decisions for them, it becomes their lives are not lived by themselves. I can never imagine being in Justin Bieber's life, and being able to go shopping and not having people, poke and prod or whatever. I can just imagine that. So I would like to think that social media, that pressure of social media is real. And it's either, if you find that you are being too immersed in it, get off it. Take these technology breaks at least once a week or even once in 2 weeks, because that's a really useful thing, technology breaks. Now, let's go behind. How did you decide that you needed help?
so as I think I was just a bit stuck up, but I didn't want to get help. I was like, I'm fine. I don't need any help. My mom was and an auntie I know, they were like, no, it doesn't matter. If you need help, you need help. Like properly, just it's up to you. Just So my mom was like, it doesn't matter if you, because my dad went through counseling and my mom went through it, and she was like, it doesn't matter. It helps you in the end. It's not, no one's gonna know.
Nobody's going to judge you. In fact, a strong person actually seeks help.
Yeah. And so then I had to meet like a call with you, and I felt like a good connection.
Yes, yes, yes. I loved working with you.
Yeah, and so I was quite excited after I think the first call we had. I was like, yes, I would love to go to her. She sounds so nice, she seems to make me happy. And so it really helped. I mean,
Tell me, how did, if there's teenagers like you that were like you, in the old you,
yeah.
how has therapy helped? And what's your tip to young people that are suffering with anxiety, in the sense of getting help, and how should they feel about it?
Yeah. So how it helped, I think my dad said before I went, like first ever session, was to be honest.
Yeah.
And I think being honest really did help, because I wouldn't be able to tell everything was in my mind. And then I guess then you would give me different tools to help me, and actually doing the tools did, like not just being like, okay, I have my tools, I'm fine now. Like properly doing them, like listening to the audios, doing the things, just it really did help. Because if you don't do anything, then there's not really point of going. You can just stay
Yeah.
home.
And the thing is, if you do more of the same, you end up getting the same results.
Yeah.
So a typical session, tell your listeners the typical session with me.
Um, so we would just discuss how the week or 2 weeks would go, and then she would you would tell me, like, because I had confidence issues, so you would tell me, how did you do this? Or like, did you use this tip? And then I had issues with eating breakfast and stuff, and so be like, did you have your breakfast? Did you have this? And we would go through different tools, sometimes we would do crazy things like
Tell them what are some of the crazy things we did.
yeah, I think there was this one time where I just stood in front of a mirror and just started talking to myself. And I think there was a time where we just dance, and it was just fun but helpful type of fun. Like it was like chatting to a friend who's trying to help you.
Thank you, sweetie. You know what? That means a lot, because I love working with young people, and knowing that I've got two young people of my own.
Yeah.
I think they've given me a lot of experience, and in the way young people think and the way they react. And being a parent isn't easy. So for all the parents out there, we cannot be hard on ourselves. We have to be gentle on ourselves, because if we don't teach our kids and be that role model of, you know what, acknowledging, yes, there's something wrong. The next step, can I solve it? If you can, brilliant. If you can't, seek help. Seek professional help, and tell everybody. I know lots of people find like hypnosis, oh my God, is it stage hypnosis? Am I going to be quacking like a duck and whatever? Tell people, what did the hypnosis feel like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to be fair, I did also think it was like, am I going to be like a dog? But no, you just it's almost like a sleeping, but you're not, and you can hear what you're saying, and you just it's like your subconscious brain properly working through, like listening, and your brain properly listening, because anything can be changed with the brain. And because the brain's quite powerful.
Yeah, the mind.
Yeah. And
and talk about, you know what tell the listeners, how did it feel being regressed, and what were some of the reasons why you were struggling with anxiety? Can you remember when I regressed you?
Yeah, I think most of them were, I think, feeling of abandonment. So I had a few close friends who just wouldn't play with me. And I think my parents, when they didn't want to play with me, or when I failed my level plus and I felt like I disappointed my parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, so most of the reasons were quite when I was small, like when I was like 3 months, or no, not 3 months, 1 year old, when my mom dropped me off to preschool, and I felt like she was just leaving me alone here in school. But I think it was just more that I was a child. I didn't really realize, and I didn't know that I remembered that. It was
Yeah.
yeah.
And you know what, in your conscious state, like in your conscious mind, when you're like chatting now, you can never remember that. And that is a beautiful part of hypnotherapy. You actually go to the root cause of your issues. You go deep down, and when you can identify it under hypnosis, it's just phenomenal, because then we put in messages, or we put in new ways, new patterns of doing things. It's like reprogramming, like a computer. Now, I'll give you some of the other things that other teenagers and young people who was experiencing anxiety, when I put them under hypnosis and we did the regression, some of them went beyond this lifetime. I have few clients that went into a past life where they were actually taking care of their own children. I had one client who, he was just 15, and he experienced anxiety and he felt like he was drowning. It's because when he was 2 years old, his parents put him for swimming classes, and the swimming instructor threw him into the pool. So that feeling of drowning and that feeling of anxiety started when he was 2 years old. And to explain to our listeners that most often our limiting beliefs begin between the ages of 0 and 8 years old. Now, our environment, because our brain waves are at a very slow wave, so we are in alpha state, you'd find that you live in like a fantasy. You just absorb. You're like a sponge. You just absorb anything in your environment. You model your parents. You just absorb without any reasoning or without any filter. And that is why when you were one and your parents dropped you at nursery, you felt like, oh my God, are they abandoning me? Am I going to see my mom and dad again? And these are very, very real feelings and emotions. Now, Vani, you know what? You've just been amazing. I remember the last session we had was exactly 60 days from your first session. And when you came to me, I think you were like on a 1 or a 2. And when you left, you were like on an 8 or a 9. And some of it were even a 10. And I am so proud of you because you even went on to doing Reiki. Now, for a 17-year-old, knowing and understanding this quantum healing, quantum physics, and knowing that you have energies radiating from you, that is just phenomenal. How did that help you?
So I did Reiki because I was quite interested in it. A lot of my mum, I think, and an auntie I know went through it, and it was quite cool because you can like feel the vibrations of different like energies. And so I wanted to see it because I'm quite into crystals and stuff, so it's very similar. And I think Reiki really helped me in properly just checking my inner body, like.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling a bit, shy, if I could tell that that's where I'm shy, like my neck, my throat chakra, and my
solar plexus,
and it's quite. I think it helped speed up the process of healing because I did it I think just before the last session, and so it did speed up the process of healing. Yeah,
I'm so proud of you. You know what? You have been just an amazing client and an amazing person to work with. And I know that people watching this is going to be inspired. Parents are going to be inspired by the way you handled it, and young people.
Yeah.
Now, I know that you've healed because I see the smile, I see the laughter, I see that spark in your eyes. And your mom has so much great things to say about you healing. So what was your biggest shift in your healing?
I think it's when I was put on to a challenge. I wouldn't start going, oh no, I can't do it. I have to just leave it and put it for last minute. And I would actually go through it like I used to, like as if it was something fun. And it's actually even more fun than it was before when I was doing it's almost like I can handle this. And right before a test, I wouldn't get nervous. I would get really nervous before a test, and now I actually enjoy school, which is quite amazing.
I love you. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, I actually enjoy school. Like obviously there's subjects I don't like, but those are just natural school things. But I actually like going to school, seeing my friends, doing my subjects, going home, going my things, talking to my parents. It's just quite fun.
No, you know what, that is just the most amazing thing, and I'm so proud of you. And I'm going to be at the Avani and we are presently got a project together. And while our therapy with Avani, she started to question her purpose. And I know before you wanted to become a doctor, and now you're looking at what you're really, really good at. You are so good at building things and so on. So now you are looking at what's
civil engineering.
Engineering, and you're going to just be amazing at that. And I'm so proud of you. Now, before I finish off, I want to know, what is your plan for 2022?
So in 2022, I'll be going through my A levels. So I just plan to just smash that. Yes. And Um, hopefully, get into a great uni. I want to travel. Yeah, I want to just see the world more because I feel like I deserve it.
Absolutely, you
Yeah.
deserve it, and your confidence has just gone up the roof.
Yeah, I want to draw more because I've been drawing a lot more for the project, and I realized that I shouldn't have because I did have a period where I just left it. I left drawing, I left art, I just focused on science. And I feel like I shouldn't have left it. And I enjoy creating things. I enjoy DT, I enjoy arts, and I'm quite having fun.
Yes, and you know what? You have to embrace life, and part of embracing life is doing what you enjoy doing. And I know you do need the science, you do need the maths, you do need all of that. And I notice that, parents put their children for tuitions in chemistry, maths, science, computer science, but no parent puts their children for well-being tuitions. And in the new year, I'm actually starting the well-being tutor. I've got a new program. It's called the Wellbeing Tutor, which will most probably be launched on my 50th because I turned 50 next year.
Oh, wow.
So so imagine if parents can actually pay weekly sessions to a well-being tutor where their child can be so confident in themselves, where their child's memory can be so on point, where they can sit in class and just absorb what is being taught. Do you think you'd need extra tuitions in maths and computer science and chemistry?
Yeah, no,
You
probably
wouldn't. You
not.
wouldn't. I think we as parents, we sometimes work from the other ways around. And I think now we need to put mental health in the picture. We need to put well-being on the picture. And we need to make sure that we're giving our kids what they need. And what they need is a healthy mind, a healthy body, and just tools to be their best. What is your power word for the rest of 2021?
I think it's not a word, but it's more like don't let other people's opinions reflect your reality.
How about it? So again, don't let other people's opinions affect your reality.
Yeah, because I think I just let a lot of people say, because I was told that I was not capable to do medicine. And obviously now I'm more into civil engineering, but I am capable to do medicine. And if I wanted to do it, I can go and do it. I was told that, I would probably, I was quite sad. I was told that probably won't heal in like another year. And it's just, I healed quite fast. So
You healed in 60 days, my girl.
yeah.
And remember, healing continues. And it doesn't mean that you come on the 60-day program, you heal, and that's it, done and dusted for the rest of your life. No, working on yourself should be a daily thing.
Yeah.
Like how you go to the toilet every day or how you brush your teeth twice a day, you need to be able to do the same. Just carry on doing your breath healing, listen to all your audios, walk into your confidence, and just daily get rid of your emotional baggage. And
Yeah.
that is some of the key messages. And I love your message for the rest of 2021. And I think lots of others too. This brings us to the end of another episode of the Chatty Cuppa. And I'm so glad that I got to, have you on the Chatty Cuppa as my guest, because you've taught me in so many ways while I was helping you. So I'm very grateful for that. You've made me a better therapist, and you've taught me to actually be a better mom also, because some of the things you were teaching me, I started doing with my own daughter. And so whenever, it's not just you as a client or a patient come and learn from me, I also learn from you. Thank you so much, my sweetie. I'm so proud of you. The world is just the biggest oyster for you. And you're just going to take everything in a stride. And you know that I'm always there on the other side of a WhatsApp. or a message, and you're not going to get rid of me very easily. And I look forward to working with you. Oh yes, PS, one extra thing. Avani and I are now working on a planner for teens and young people. We've seen that we don't, people don't, young people don't have a very motivational planner where they can be motivated every single day for that year. So we've got a surprise for you. It's only in the infant stage. Avani and I are putting our heads together to come up with a very, very constructive planner that would actually help build self-esteem, motivation, physical health, mental health, well-being. So I'm really looking forward to it. We'll most probably be in the new year, because this rest of this year is like vanishing by so quickly. Well, I'd love to say, you know what, if you know that you or your child or your child is suffering with anxiety, don't forget, watch this, listen to some of the key tips, and feel free to contact me. I'm on all social media platforms, and yes, together we can heal. And I always believe that, your skill set is one thing, but your mindset is everything. And parents, don't be too hard on yourself. Be gentle on yourself, because your child mimics you and your child models your behavior. So be that role model. Don't expect your child to be at a certain place if you're not there. So if wherever you want to take your children, you need to be there first. Lots of love, Avani. Thank you so much. Love you a lot, sweetie. And yes, that brings us to the end of another wonderful